This video is on UML model. UML, or Unified Modeling Language Model, is object-oriented system modeling notation that is used to conceptualize data requirements. Since UML is object-oriented, it uses classes and objects as its building blocks. Class is basically a set of objects. An object is an instance of class. In relative to ER model, class is an entity type, and object is an entity. Let's go over classes in more detail. Class in UML is a rectangle that is broken down into three parts, with top part being the name of the class, middle part being the variables, and bottom part being the methods. Top part is similar to entity type rectangles with the name. Middle part is a list of all attribute types, and bottom part is basically a way to access the variables. The variables in the UML are uniquely supported since all object is already assigned a unique and immutable identifier and serves as a key. All variables are followed by a colon with primitive types like string, integer, and boolean that is used to define the variables to ensure good domain definition. Variables should be decomposed if it is composite, and multi-value variables should have a number within brackets, following the primitive types to state how many values of the variables will be created for that object. Access modifiers are utilized for variables as well as access methods. To add security, symbols minus, plus, and sharp are added, where minus means it's private and the variable or methods can be accessed by the class itself, while plus means public and it means variable and methods can be accessed by any other class. And lastly, sharp means protect, where variable or method can be accessed by both class and its subclasses. Alright, let's look at a class again. Here we have a person class. A simple person class has nothing in it. No variables, no access methods. And on the right, we added variables and access methods. A person class with variables, address, name, and age. As you could see, we have the access modifiers, minus and sharp and plus. Once again, minus is private, sharp is protected, and plus is public. In the variables, we have colon followed by a primitive type, like integer, boolean, and strings. And at the bottom, we have the access method, getAge, as well as setAge. Once again, this is a class, and within a class, we have different objects, like Bob, for example. When it comes to relationships in UML, cardinality n is replaced with asterisk sign, but besides that, everything else is the same as ER model. If the association has variables and or methods on its own, it's modeled as an association class. It's similar to rhombus in a relationship having its own attributes. Additionally, relationships or associations have arrows if it's unidirectional and no arrows if it's bidirectional. This means that unidirectional association, one class can retrieve variables from another class in one way, but not the other way around. UML has qualified association design where you can specify one or more variables to be index key for navigating from qualified class to the target class. Qualified association is used to represent weak entity type that depends on another existence in UML model. For example, a room number that needs a hotel room number as well. Hotel class can have a small rectangle attached to it with a index key room number to specify the qualified association. Specialization is also supported like ER model, and constraints are written between curly brackets separated by semicolon like shown. Curly brackets, partial, semicolon, overlap, curly brackets. The subclasses are pointed and connected to superclass with an arrow. UML also supports inheritance, so all subclass will inherit variables, methods, and associations from the superclass. And lastly, aggregation can be represented in two ways, shared and composite aggregation. Shared is hollow rhombus, while composite is filled-in rhombus, where shared aggregation part object can belong to multiple composite objects simultaneously, while composite aggregation states that part object can only belong to one composite. Besides that, UML adds a little more concepts to add more semantics in the data model, like changeability property, object constraint language, and dependency relationships compared to ER model. Changeability property basically specifies type of operations that are allowed. These are added in the variables within the curly brackets as follows. Supplier name, colon, integer, frozen. Frozen simply means it can no longer change, and add only means you can only add and not remove. Object constraint language is another concept that's added in UML, and it is used to specify types of constraints in a declarative way and are also added in the variables. For example, if you want to put constraint to ensure status can't be greater than 4, you can put personality status, status less than 5. Then we have dependency relationship that is denoted by a dashed line in the UML model. When object of one class uses an object of another class in its methods, but refer object is not stored in any variable, it is called dependency.